2 decades ago, Toys R Us was one of the premier places to go for kids. The same establishment is a shadow of itself right now, and it even filed for bankruptcy. We'll be going over how Toys R Us built its name and what led to its decline. Born in 1923 in Washington, D.C., Charles Lazarus spent his childhood working in his father's bicycle shop, nurturing dreams of expanding the business. Inspired by fellow soldiers during World War II, he envisioned a future centered around children. In 1948, after the war, he invested $5,000, rented his father's old bicycle shop, and founded his business, initially named Children's Bargain Town and sometimes referred to as Children's Supermart. Thriving as a baby furniture retailer during an era with a baby boom, Children's Bargain Town expanded to multiple locations with lengthy and commonplace names. Charles Lazarus identified a crucial shift in customer demand. People weren't repeatedly buying cribs or dressers. Instead, they sought new and diverse toys that evolved with seasons, culture, and technological advancements. Recognizing this trend, the company shifted its focus to meet the growing desire for ever-changing and innovative toys. Charles was fully committed to toys, positioning his business as the foremost and largest toy seller, offering unbeatable prices. He aimed for Toys R Us to be the go-to destination for toys, emphasizing their exclusivity to toys only. The tagline, Toys R Us, echoed across marketing materials and signage, urging customers to associate their toy purchases exclusively with the store. Back in 1957, the rise of self-service supermarkets inspired a similar approach at Toys R Us, where customers could freely navigate aisles, filling their carts with toys directly off the shelves, creating a novel shopping experience. A fresh logo was crafted featuring a playful touch with a backward letter R evoking a child's handwriting. In 1960, the mascot Dr. Giraffe from Children's Bargain Town underwent a marketing overhaul, transforming into the beloved Geoffrey Giraffe. This friendly giraffe, inspired by the playful nature of real giraffes, became a familiar face associated with Toys R Us. In 1966, Charles sold Toys R Us to Interstate Department Stores for $7.5 million, aiming to fund nationwide expansion. Interstate Department Stores owned various department store chains, some obscure and no longer in existence. Despite the sale, Charles Lazarus remained at the helm of Toys R Us under the Interstate umbrella. However, by 1974, Interstate Department Stores faced bankruptcy. Lazarus took charge of all Interstate stores, implementing strategic business decisions and investing in people, products, and technology. By 1978, through careful management, he had successfully brought Interstate out of bankruptcy. Having successfully steered Interstate out of bankruptcy, Lazarus transformed the entire entity into a single Toys R Us corporation, going public on the New York Stock Exchange as TOY. In 1983, a new chain, Kids R Us, focusing on clothing and home goods, was launched. Expanding internationally, Toys R Us opened its first store in Canada in 1984. Capitalizing on the 80s toy boom, they grew to nearly 1,000 locations in the US and a similar number outside the US within a decade. In 1994, after 46 years under Charles Lazarus's leadership, Michael Goldstein took over as CEO, marking the beginning of the company's decline, a complex situation with no single cause to blame for a once $11 billion business facing challenges. The 90s brought significant shifts in children's television regulations, restricting the freewheeling toy marketing seen in the vibrant 80s. Video game systems gained popularity, diverting time, interest, and spending dollars that were once allocated to more affordable, higher-margin toys. Toys R Us faced challenges in adapting to these changes, remaining anchored in old discount superstore practices. The board struggled to grasp the potential profits of emerging technology and products as swiftly as competitors did. With stagnant growth and declining net income, Toys R Us grappled with the evolving market, reflecting the impact of changing times and tastes. In 1996, Babies R Us was introduced to the Toys R Us profile, reflecting Charles Lazarus's original retail vision. However, after 4 years of declining market share and a lagging stock price, Goldstein resigned, making way for Robert Nakasone. With the establishment of ToysRUs.com, there was a push to embrace the internet age. Nakasone aimed to modernize the company by reducing the massive inventory by $500 million. Unfortunately, this move impacted suppliers like Mattel and Hasbro, leaving them with unsold products, resulting in decreased sales and, in some cases, financial losses. In a crucial year during the holiday season, ToysRUs.com experienced a crash, disrupting their potential during one of the first online holiday shopping seasons. The website remained intermittently operational for the rest of the year, spanning into the new millennium. By 1999, Walmart had surpassed Toys R Us as the leading toy sales market share holder. Walmart's competitive edge included even lower prices and the ability for shoppers to combine toy purchases with a vast array of other offerings. The rise of online sales further diminished Toys R Us's foot traffic. Despite considerable efforts by CEO Nakasone to overhaul the company's store design, customer service, vision, and online sales capacity, the challenges persisted. In 2000, CEO Nakasone was abruptly dismissed amid disagreements with the board of directors, comprised mostly of founder Charles Lazarus and his old partners. John Eiler, formerly of FAO Schwarz, took over as the new president. In 2001, Toys R Us signed a partnership deal with Amazon.com and ventured into Japan with an IPO. The iconic Times Square location opened in 2001. By 2005, a leveraged buyout led by Bain Capital Partners LLC, featuring Mitt Romney, Kohlberg Kravis Roberts, and the Vornado Trust, took the company private once again, marking a new phase in Toys R Us's corporate journey. In early 2005, Toys R Us faced a significant setback as its debt was downgraded to junk bond status. This meant that there was a high likelihood of default, leading to a low credit rating. The lack of revenue available for reinvesting in stores and operations took a toll on the shopping experience for customers. Stores became understaffed and were not well maintained. Fast forward to 2017, and the toy industry and retail in general were experiencing a decline. In 2017, facing a substantial $5 billion debt and annual costs of around $400 million just to manage that debt, Toys R Us filed for bankruptcy. On January 20, 2019, the company emerged from bankruptcy with a new identity as True Kids. Later that year, True Kids planned to open smaller stores in the US, about a third of the size of the original Toys R Us stores. In November 2019, the first retail store under the new brand opened in New Jersey, followed by a second location in Texas in December. This was a partial attempt by Toys R Us to revive their business under a different name. A leveraged buyout occurred when Toys R Us was acquired using borrowed funds. For instance, if the selling price was $20 million and the buyer had only $3 million, they obtained a $17 million loan, using Toys R Us as collateral. This approach resulted in ownership of the company, but also incurred a significant $17 million debt. However, the actual leveraged buyout in 2005 was far more complex, involving a significant sum of $6.6 billion, most of which was financed through loans. These loans were added to Toys R Us's balance sheet, resulting in a substantial increase in debt. It's akin to taking out a mortgage to buy a house. While manageable with a reliable income, any disruption in cash flow poses a risk. As long as the cash flow remained robust, everything seemed stable. But when it slowed down, the repercussions became evident, highlighting the challenges faced by Toys R Us. Particularly in the 1980s, when numerous leveraged buyouts led to the bankruptcy of acquired companies. The high leverage ratios, often close to 100%, resulted in substantial interest payments that strained operating cash flows, making it challenging for companies to meet their obligations. Toys R Us acknowledged this risk in its annual report, highlighting the potential difficulty in making debt payments if operating activities couldn't generate sufficient cash flows. While it may have seemed surprising to outsiders, those closely monitoring the company's financial condition were likely aware of this risk. To put it simply, Toys R Us took a pay cut and was now struggling to meet its financial obligations. The question arose, why weren't they generating enough money? While blaming the internet is a common reflex, it's a valid point. The shift in consumer behavior, with more people turning to online shopping, significantly impacted traditional brick-and-mortar retailers like Toys R Us. Toys R Us has been working on its online presence for quite some time. They started their website almost 20 years ago, and it quickly became one of the fastest-growing sites for toys and baby products. They claim to be one of the most visited sites in their category, and from what I see, there's no evidence against that. In 2007, they even acquired eToys.com and Toys.com to make their online presence even stronger. So, while competing with big players like Amazon is tough, Toys R Us hasn't been ignoring their online side of the business. The challenges they're facing might be because people are changing how they shop, and the overall market is shifting. When you look at stores like Walmart and Target, they have toys that are pretty much the same but cost less. Toys R Us seems like a pricier option for toys now. I think part of the reason for this change is that toys in general aren't as popular. Kids today spend more time on technology. Toys R Us is facing difficulties, but it's not in a terrible state. The problems with selling toys were there before the leveraged buyout, but the debt from the buyout made everything more challenging. Do you think they'll bounce back from this? Let me know in the comments. We've come to the end of today's video. Please make sure to subscribe to the channel for more content.